Today we catch something we didn't see before. A moment, a pattern, a feeling we brushed off. And once we see it now, we won't be able to unsee it. And it will land sharp, absolutely. But we have this other energy coming in, and that will soften that sharp landing, and it will bring in clarity and understanding and knowledge. And we start thinking, oh, so that's what this has been about. So we have these rare moments that we can step into over the next several days where our mind awakes and our heart agrees. Today changes how we understand the past and how we choose the next step forward. So let's break down this energy together. We'll start with the numerology, then astrology, then we will turn to the cards. But first, I want to turn it to you and say thank you. Thank you for being here, for your love, your time, your support. So hi, I'm Tilly. This is Tarot with Tilly. Welcome to your daily focus, November the 19th, 2025. We have the energy of the 19. That is the I am. That is us shining brightly. That is us seeing paths that we didn't see before. It's like a light switch goes on when the 19 energy is here. The light switch goes on and we can see the doors and windows and corners. We know what we're dealing with. We get that clarity, that knowledge in. And this is a time when we start to see what we have done in order to get to the here and now. That it wasn't by happenstance, but rolling up our sleeves and getting to work and meeting whatever energy face to face, eyeball to eyeball. 1 + 9 is the 10 energy. The 10 energy is all about luck, seasons changing. We are always transforming. We are always evolving. Whether or not we want to participate, it's up to us. This is a time to write your new stories, to imagine what you want to step into and how it's going to play out. 1 + 0 is 1, and that is I am. That is the independent. That is the trailblazer. We know that we are capable, and we see our horizons expand with so many more choices, adventures, opportunities available to us that we never saw before. Now, if we look at the daily numerology, it would be a 2 + a 1 + a 9, and that gives us a 12 energy. The 12 energy asks us to be in the moment, to just breathe, to just breathe. Look at our situations, the events that are happening in our life, and look at it more with logic rather than emotion, although that might be a little hard, but I think we could do the logic today. But the heart will be in there in some kind of combination, some kind of form. We want to kind of block that away a little bit and be more of an observer rather than the participant in a past thought, event happening, or something that's happening around us now. And we'll see things under a new light, a new perception, a new understanding. And I keep getting this breathing, so I'm going to throw it in here because there. So what I want you to do, okay? What I want you to do is I want you to crouch over in your chair as much as you can and take a nice deep breath and then let it out. Okay, now straighten up. Okay, square your shoulders and do the same thing. Do you feel the second time how much more oxygen you got into your lungs, into your pushing your tummy out, pushing that pelvic wall down? And as we exhaled, we brought that pelvic wall up and we brought our tummy in and exhaled slowly. But we had room to breathe. And so often we're slumped over our desks or slumped over looking at a computer or something, slumped over our phones, and we need to start breathing correctly. If we breathe correctly, then being in the moment is quite easy because we're naturally breathing correctly, but so many of us have grown into this slumped kind of position. Okay, so if you have a little bit of a belly, okay, when we are constantly breathing like that, we're not working any of these muscles in our breathing. Okay, none of these muscles, and just the simple fact of taking time to breathe properly every day, you will end up with nothing, well, at least a flat stomach, but I think you'll gain so much more because it gives you a moment to release the stresses we carry with us. To release what, yeah, the anxieties, the fears, the stress. And I mean, we can pick up other people's stresses just walking through a mall or down the street. And we don't realize how much of that tension we take from them and with us as we go on our way. 1 plus 2 is a 3, and that is our mind, that is our thoughts, that is our imagination, that is our voice, that is our communication, that is our transformation. It's a very transformative time, and it's about trying little things of everything. It's about expanding the possibilities in our life through curiosity. So let your heart be led with curiosity. Allow your intuition to be led through curiosity, and then pay attention to those things when they talk back to you. Okay, I mentioned it yesterday. I'll mention it again today. The 2026 calendar is finally ready. It's up. It's all about following the planets a little bit more closely, knowing when, and if you know your own natal chart, and if you don't know it, well, then follow my link in the description box, and it's totally free. Okay, but what will happen is if you follow that link, you click on it and it goes right to you filling out the information, and then it'll tell you, well, your sun is in, and because of this is a trait that you probably have, and your Mars is here, your Jupiter is here, and know where those planets are, and to see then how they line up in the calendar year of where they are, in what house they're in. So if you were born with your second house being, in Taurus, that's a high money energy. But what if something else is happening during that time? Maybe the moon's going over it, so we have to go internally about our wealth, our security, our stability. What if it's in our fifth house? Let's say Venus is in your fifth house. Well, that's about having joy and happiness and laughter within our relationships, and having a little bit of joy and fun with our money, and spending it on things that make us happy and bring joy to our life. And I don't mean spontaneous purchases. I mean those things that will last. So by having the calendar there, it will help you in so many ways. And you'll learn a little bit more about astrology when you do that. So, you'll love the calendar. I'm sure of it. I've got an inspirational message for you as well that's kind of geared to the astrology on each one, so on each month. So yeah, so finally got it done, and whew. Okay, astrology. Sun is in Scorpio. Moon is in Scorpio. Mercury opposes Uranus today, and Mercury trines Neptune today. So for the next several days, we will feel this energy, 3 or 4 days. So when we look at these transits, I think one of the most important things when we're looking at them to understand is that all these planets are in retrograde. All of them are in retrograde. So this is about, it slows, it sets the whole tone. It slows our thinking down. We can see what we missed, the things we stepped over. It's that moment of where pieces of old conversation, our old feelings, our old truths come back into focus, so that we can understand them a little bit differently. We've walked over this energy once before. We'll walk over this energy one more time. So Mercury is opposite Uranus. So now oppositions, they bring in balance, they bring in clarity, because they sit across the sky from each other, and they're opposing each other. And so, there's a left field and a right field kind of energy, and we have to find the middle ground, the true balance for us going forward. but it's Uranus, and it's the things that we've already walked through. So, Uranus, expect the unexpected. It shakes things loose. It gives us sudden insight. It gives us sudden awareness. It brings in sudden opportunities. Okay, and so we'll have those aha moments or those epiphanies of, why didn't I see this before? Okay, so it kind of gives us this wake up call. And we notice that there was something right in front of us the whole time, or maybe we see what we brushed off, or maybe something we misunderstood, or maybe it was just something we weren't ready to acknowledge the first time around. Mercury being in retrograde, it's the information that we've already taken in finally clicking. Maybe a truth we missed, a detail we overlooked, a conversation that maybe deserves a revisit. And then, what else is it? It was Mercury TRINE Neptune. And that's a completely different kind of energy. It's a clarity. It's deep. It's intuitive. So it gives an emotional meaning to what Uranus exposes to us. It helps us to understand the deeper reason behind the realization of, I missed this, or I overlooked that, or I need to revisit that conversation, but we understand the why behind it. We understand the emotions that are pushing it into our view, our focus. So we get that deeper reason behind the realization, and that brings in, compassion, self-compassion, maybe compassion towards others, a little bit more insight, absolutely, emotional truth, spiritual awareness. And so when these two aspects are happening at basically the same time, I think a couple of hours apart, but they both last for 3 or 4 days. Okay, and everything is retrograde. Everything is retrograde. This is a very specific effect. Okay, it's this boom, sudden awareness. It just comes out of nowhere and it hits you, and then it's followed by this deep understanding. So first, we see it sharply or we feel it sharply, and then, then we feel it fully. Uranus opens that door and Neptune shows us what's inside. One reveals and one explains. So today will help us understand our emotional stories. What happens beneath our interactions. This is where we can read between the lines. We see what somebody meant, not just what they said. Or we get clarity about our needs, our wants, our desires, our boundaries. Or where we miscommunicated, or our words got tangled, or, our instincts will be sharp today and the next day and the day after that. We'll see where we've been off track. What needs correcting, or where we might have been pushing towards something for the wrong reasons. That could also come out today. So I would think that, under this energy, we want to revisit our plans. We want to restructure our ideas, maybe strategize. And we'll notice opportunities that perhaps we missed the first time around. Or maybe it'll be a problem that we failed to acknowledge the first time around. But we'll gain a better understanding of our triggers, our patterns, our habits, our choices. We understand where we abandoned ourselves and where we showed up for ourselves. And we begin to understand in a way that lets us choose differently, to grow differently, and to lead ourselves forward with a confidence. Okay, let's go to the. Oh, what's Three of Swords? Well, it is the underlying energy, and it is about healing, and it's about allowing that healing to come in, that closure in our life. Maybe we've been walking around with the guilt, and all of a sudden we realize that there is no reason for us to feel that guilt or that shame or that annoyance or whatever it might have been, that rage, perhaps. Maybe we could have handled it differently. This is the time we'll see how to handle it successfully next time. We'll see ourselves going through the new motions that we bring into existence for ourselves. Or maybe you're starting a business or you're working a business and you're trying to get that growth in and nothing's happening, and you see now where you haven't been putting your energy, a pocket that you've missed. Or something that you could do just slightly different that would change everything. I worked for a convenience store years ago, and they would open at 8 in the morning. And it was kind of like I was pregnant, and I rented off of them. So I would go in and open the store for them because they were lazy and didn't want to get out of bed in the morning. So I would go over there, and then I would go to my full-time job. But it would knock down my rents considerably by doing that little thing. So, and we were saving for, a couple of months off, right? For baby and all the things baby would need. And so I had a couple of people say, if you opened at this time, I would get my coffee here every morning and my paper here every morning. But, by the time I'm going to work in the morning, you guys are still closed. So I said to them, I said, I could come in a couple hours early and open up, and then we wouldn't miss those people. And we'd probably gain new customers by being open at that time because obviously there's a demand for it. And, they said yes to that, So all of a sudden I saw a way of increasing my hours there because once I went on maternity leave and stuff, I could still do that for them and still have some kind of income come in. But it's about, it's about the realizations, the understandings that come into play in our lives. So healing is a big part of it, obviously, and allowing that light to be absorbed within us. Okay. So, just healing alone can just be sitting up straight or standing up straight as you do that. Couple of deep breaths, just being in the moment, being in the now, as the 12 energy wants us to do today. Our underlying energy is the 5 of Cups. Yeah, I think we're going to feel a little bumped and bruised today. I mean, the energy in the astrology kind of points that way, although I try and make it as positive and see how you can work with it rather than what can go wrong. Because if we focus on what's going to go wrong, chances are that'll happen. So let's focus on the positive. There's this vast path, and we kind of have our backs a little bit to it. We're looking backwards. We're looking at the past. We're thinking, oh, look I tried this and this didn't work, and I did that and that didn't work. But this is the kind of day where we throw off that cloak, we twirl around, we see the cup standing upright, waiting to be filled. We see that ginormous path laying in front of us that we didn't see before because we were so caught up within ourselves and our misery or our sadness or our anxieties or our fears. So I think there's a little bit of courage that is needed here to look things in the eye, to not try and escape what is being shown to us today, but to understand it. Queen of Cups, here we are. We're holding the cup. We're holding one of those cups there. Look at the transformation. That's the underlying energy. That's an underlying energy that is pulling us down. But the first card is, what do you want to put in that cup? You can see this path and you can see this beautiful cup waiting to be filled. But if you don't have a goal or a destination or a passion or, something tangible to work towards, or something to work towards that you can make tangible, this is the time to think about where you want to go, what you want to do, what you want to create, how you are going to fill that cup. Okay, this is about love and compassion towards yourself, knowing that you are worthy, knowing that you are deserving, and knowing that you are more than capable of going after that dream or that desire. Will it be hard work? Probably. Will it be easy? Probably not. Three cups on the board. Look at that. We have the king come out. The King of Cups is kind of like, let's take it down to the basics, okay? Whenever you run into a real problem in life and you can't figure out, what you're doing wrong, take it really back to the first step and start walking through it. And you will find maybe you tripped actually 5 steps ago and you think it's this step now, but the King of Cups is about making sure that we have created a solid foundation for ourselves. Here we sit in the middle of this stormy sea, and we're not worried. We're not full of anxiety or fear. We know that we have a strong footing on which to build. And if you've been doing the work over the last several months, you definitely have a stronger footing than you did at 3 or 4 months ago. Your ship is coming in, and it is in very clear water. It's only around us, but we sit there and we drink from our cup and we hold our staff. A bird is flying maybe towards us to bring us a message because we are open to receiving, but we're also open to giving what we want, talking about our dreams. But it's really about making sure that, do you have a roof over your head? Is there enough money to put the food on the table, to fill the gas tank? Are there people that surround you that love you and support you, admire you? And there's this kind of surety that knowing that you are deserving, knowing that you are worthy, knowing that you have built this foundation underneath your feet on which to stand, that your success and your joys and your abundance is coming in. And it is. The ship is right behind us there. But we don't have to look to see if it's coming in. We just need to be present. And then we have, look at this, the Four of Pentacles comes back again. What are you holding on to? I mean, tomorrow is the new moon. I mean, this energy is perfect right now because we can set some goals. We can set some new goals, put some passions into action, make something, a thought, a desire, a want, a passion into something tangible. I mean, this is really setting us up for some wonderful successes down the road. But we have to let go of what holds us back. We have to tear down the wall. We have to see what is holding us back, what we are attached to. And it's usually part of an old story under this kind of energy. The old story of who you used to be, what you used to put up with, what you used to say, how you used to act. And there's a lot of different meditations and stuff that are even affirmations that say, I used to be this person, but I no longer am. Today and going forward, I am this person. And starting to, tell yourself that, okay, I was that person. Absolutely right, brain. You got me pegged. That is who I was. But I am no longer going to be that person. Going forward, I am now going to be this person. And your brain's kind of like, oh, okay, well, we got to shift some gears. We got to move some things around. Let it go. Let it go. There's a path awaiting you there that is full of abundance, full of prosperity, full of joy. But we're not going to get there if we keep carrying the old baggage around with us. We need to leave it at the door. We need to walk forward without it. It only stays alive in our mind. take the lessons, leave the rest. And I know that is so much easier said than done. Temple, the wisdom within, quieten external noise. I think we've had this one like quite a few times now, haven't we? The temple? Temple is a place to commune with the sacred. The temple in this card doesn't discriminate. All are welcome here. For it's the temple within, and we can access it every moment of every day. And while we're in the temple, if we're lucky, we may discover that the sacred is not just above us, it's all around us, below us, and of course within us. And stepping into the temple is the act of going within, of not looking to the external world for outside forces for guidance, and instead accessing our own wisdom, the wisdom that's always been available for us deep within. The temple card invites us to prioritize the relationship we have with ourselves, to cultivate a daily or even moment by moment practice of going within. Of course, we don't need to be inside a physical temple to do this. The temple is a symbol for the temple that's forever been within, a resting place, a wise place, a healing place, a creative place, a safe place, a powerful place, and an intuitive place. Our soul inquiry is, how are we being called to quiet the external noise and connect with the wisdom within? I think it'll be much easier on days like today because, like I said, everything is retrograde. Everything is asking us to slow down. Everything is asking us to look in the past, to rewalk those steps, to see what we missed the first time, to understand it. And yes, we don't really have to make even the decisions at this point because we are going to be walking through this energy one more time. Mercury has to come forward again, right? Believe. The unicorn. Believe. So believe, wish, magic, and unexpected. Believe in yourself, and there will come a time when others will have no choice but to believe with you. So you may say something of what you want to do going forward, and people may laugh, and they might point at you, and they may like look at you like, "Are you insane to even say that out loud?" But if you embrace that dream and embrace that passion and go forward, one day they'll have no choice but to say, "Wow, you did it. And look at how successful you are because of it." Unicorn tells you that sometimes you get caught up in reality and the stresses of life and you forget that there is magic all around you and especially within you. Remember to keep wishing and believing in those wishes. It's when you forget to wish, when you forget to believe, that you stop receiving. It may be little, it may be big, but surprises and unexpected gifts happen when you least expect them. Being open to the unexpected turns in the road of life is an important part of your success. And you know what? There will be unexpected turns in our roads of life today because tomorrow and the next day probably, because Uranus is in the picture, right? So by letting go of some of the control and allowing yourself to ride through your life unplanned, but with a vision, a dream, a faith, a belief, the twists and turns may in fact lead you to the most wonderful of places. So believe. If you don't believe in magic, well then the magic probably won't show up for you, but I do hope it will. Until we meet again, remember, I do love you.